viewers, Train Simulator Driver here. I'm a real-life engineman on a heritage railway, and I'm here to tell you how to drive the Class 710/2 Aventra. We're here on the Transport for London Overground line. It's called the Suffragette, but most rail fans call it the Goblin. So this is our 710 right here, and we're going to hop in. You'll notice our pantograph is down at the moment. That's how you'll find it most of the time. We'll hop into the door and just shut that. If you want to open the windows, you certainly can. Over on both sides there. I find the trains sound a lot better with the windows open. Alright, first step, master key in and on. Second step is to bring our reverser to the secure position. At this point the train has started up and you're running on batteries, so you want to press your AC system select and your pantograph up. And right now down at the back of the train we should see a pantograph down here somewhere. There it is, you can just see it there. Right, it has come up. Very good. Next up, check our headlights. So they're already on day and already on auto, so that's fine. If they're not, you can just change them, or you can change them to whatever setting you like, daytime or nighttime or whatever. Alright, next up is unlocking the doors. You can use your standard controller functions, or you can use your keyboard as usual, or you can press this button. Now, one thing to note about the doors on this train is that they automatically close and lock. That's not actually realistic, just calling that out. They would automatically close, but the driver would have to press the close button to make them lock. That doesn't work that way in the game, just due to a limitation in the way the game works. I'm going to come over here now. I'm going to turn on two switches. The first one I'm going to turn on is Vigilance, or DSD. That will go off periodically, a beep, 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 beep noise. And if you don't acknowledge it, the train will stop. And I'm going to turn on TPWS, AWS, Automatic Warning System, Train Protection System. Notice the sunflower has now illuminated, and I'm going to reset that.
TPWS and AWS operational.
And the lovely lady lets us know that the system is now armed. Now that system, when you come up to an adverse signal, so a yellow or a red, it will go off, and if you don't acknowledge it, the train will stop, and I'll show you how to recover that later. Your GSM-R has already booted up by itself, and it's showing your service automatically. Most of these buttons don't do anything, but the sun blind does, so if you want to bring your blind down a bit, you can just use this switch here, and just let it go, and you'll see the blinds come down some way, which is cool. I'm going to put it all the way up, because that's the way I prefer it. I like to see the sky. Now, if you need to contact the signal, you just click on the black phone here. We have got flashing hazard lights, which are kind of disco fever. Turn those off. You have got a signal buzzer, but you don't need it because these trains don't have guards. Windscreen wipers, if you want to turn them on, just bring it round to whatever position you like, and off they go. Just put that back to off. Emergency stop is the big tomato slice here. If you push that to reset, you have to put the brakes back into B3 once you stop, and then you can release that. The DRA, or Driver's Reminder Appliance, when you're sitting in a platform with a red signal in front of you, or anytime you've got a red signal in front of you, you should press this button. It cuts off traction power, so you cannot move the train. You can release the brakes, however, which is a little disconcerting because you might roll. Alright, next thing to do is put our reverser into forwards. Of course, after all this rigmarole, we're now late. We've got our horn, high horn and low horn. I'll be using Rail Driver to drive today. And we're going to bring our brake handle to the coast position. And then apply a little bit of power. Now, on this screen here, you can see I'm starting to get some power. And there's our Vigilance going off, so I'll just reset that. It's a standard reset, circle or B on controllers for console, or the Q key on the keyboard on PC, or the alert button on the Rail Driver. You'll see this graph here is now showing I've got some power. If it doesn't, and if there's a red line at the top here, then you are traction locked, probably because of emergency braking or something along those lines. So I only applied one notch of power there because we only need to get up to 25 mile an hour as we get onto the correct track. We'll soon be getting up to 40. This train also works on DC powered lines, so if you need DC, if you use free roam or a scenario, you can push this button under this cap here and then push the shoes down, which will put your DC shoes down for the third rail. It can't do DC pantograph. It's AC pantograph or DC shoes. We're just coasting our way up to 40 miles an hour now. Got another Vigilance alarm going off. I need to reset. The next time that goes off, I'm going to let it stop the train, so to show you what to do with that. But before we do that, I'm going to show you an emergency stop. So I'm going to whack the slice of tomato here, and you'll notice I've got full braking, and I've got a red line that shows I'm emergency braking over here. My response is to put the brake handle into B3 and wait for my train to come to a complete stop. Alright, let's unclick the slice of tomato, and we should, in theory, be able to get moving again now. So I've released the brakes, and I'm applying some power. And there we go. Moving again now, so this time around we will drive off towards Barking, platform 8, in 2 miles. Give it lots of power now, to just because we're running a little behind time, as you can tell up there. Let me just turn off this marker. I had it on for a scenario earlier. Coming down this ramp here. I haven't run the route in this build, so it might jitter a little bit. This is also a early access build, so it may not be exactly the same as what you see on release day. The usual disclosure is that I have got this DLC for free from Dovetail Games for the purposes of making tutorials like this for you. And of course, just having fun. Because, you know, trains, they're fun. That's why we're here, right? Because trains are fun. If you don't know, I'm a real-life engineman operating on a heritage railway. I'm a fireman in steam locomotives, and as a fireman, I do get to drive from time to time, which is also an excellent experience. The display here has various information about your train. There's not really all that much you can actually do with it that's particularly useful, so I won't go through it and confuse you. You may get to use it in some scenarios. You'll be directed what to do when you get one of those. Nearly up to 50 mile an hour now. So we'll just go back to coasting. So I just moved the power handle into the coast position. Got a green signal here, so we'll hear a ding from TPWS/AWS. And you'll notice that the sunflower is in its unilluminated state. Got our station platform not terribly far away now. We're only doing 45 mile an hour, so we don't have to brake too early. But one thing I would suggest to you is don't leave braking too late on this station, because it brakes almost as well as a well-greased potato. There's a lot of special assets built for this route to make it look appropriate, such as these blocks of flats up here. I've not seen anything like that in the game before. And after warning you not to brake too late, I'm braking too late. Let's get into brake 3. We'll be okay. Righto. Let's open our right-hand doors, so you can either click either of the red buttons up here, or you can use your standard controller features, the right on the D-pad on the controller, the, what is it, the U key on the keyboard, or the D-pad on your rail driver. All of these will work fine for you. The joy of passengers who throw your cameras around. Stop it. It's quite a busy route. You'll see plenty of other trains when you're cruising along at the morning and afternoon peak times. It's time to lock our doors. Same way, you can either press the blue button here for close and interlock. They do close themselves. And let's get out of here to Woodgrange Park, and hopefully the Vigilance will go off this time. Let's give it the full beans like a traditional passenger commuter would. This train will automatically apply sand if it starts to slip, but if you want to, you can always press the traction sand button to get a bit more. Back into coast. I'll put a little bit of power on because we're going up this slope. You do want to try and stay under the speed limit. You'll notice in my track monitor on the top right, I don't have the signal indications lit up. It's because I want to see them when I see them, because as a driver, that's what I'm expecting to see. Driving is all about situational awareness and being aware of what's coming up. Including a downslope like this where I probably should have preparatorily braked, but didn't. So that comes with route knowledge as you gradually get to know your route. This one is 13 miles long, I think, and 13 stations. It is the full route. Just rolling along in coast now. Touching controls on this one does delay the Vigilance, so it resets its countdown timer. Got a 30-mile-an-hour zone coming up. And that starts right after the station. There's Vigilance. Hands off. I'm going to let it stop the train. There it goes. It's applying the brake. We now have an emergency brake application. So what we do in response, we put our brake into B3. Wait till the train stops. And acknowledge the Vigilance. You can use the Q key to do that, or the circle or B buttons on your controller. To recover, we should be right now because the emergency brake line on this display has gone off. So if we release our brakes, you can hear things happening behind us, relays clicking and things like that. And we should, there we go, be able to apply power now. This train does have a satisfying growl to the traction motors. I quite like it. Having watched quite a lot of videos, it's a realistic sound too. I think they've nailed this one. Now, if you're wondering why you've got all these short platforms and why parts of the platform seem quite unkempt, this is an old electric line that was reinvigorated by Transport for London as the Overground system. And it's a part of a group of lines providing everyday commuter transport. Alright, we'll open up the doors. You see all these people with glasses and headphones and cups of coffee and suitcases and things like that. There's a whole lot more life in the passengers these days. You can thank a fella named Ollie. Oh, I can see a few people falling down onto the tracks there. That's A little dangerous. I said, no, they're getting back up into the train. It's all good. It's all good. The things you see. Alright, so it's closing the doors by itself. And it has locked them. Time to go. So we will continue our drive here. Coming into a 30-mile-an-hour zone now. I am hoping to find an adverse signal at some point. Let's go back into coasting now so we don't go too fast. Starting to go up slopes, I'll apply a little bit of power, and we've come into a 45 zone as well, so we can speed up because the back of our train has passed the 45 sign. The way the speed limits apply on this line, as the front of your train passes a lowering limit, you must already be doing that speed. When the speed is increasing, the back of your train must pass the sign before you're allowed to speed up. Coming into a 40 zone now. There are some slow points on the line for tight curves and points and the like. Coming into our next station now. I did warn you she doesn't like to stop. Just like that. The 710 just wants to get going. Wants to go fast. Loading our passengers again. And then we will take off shortly. One thing to remember as you're driving this route, if you're actually on time, when it locks the doors, that's not necessarily the time to go, so you should wait until you get to your time. I've spent so long explaining this train to you that I am in fact quite late, so it would be fine to lock our doors early and get out of here. There's another 710 coming through. I have no idea if they honk in real life on this line, but, you know, noisy things, they're fun. Bit of the old flat stick. Heading off to Leytonstone High Road now. Going just a little fast. Slow that down again. Now, unfortunately, we haven't come across an adverse signal at this point in time, but when you do come across one, basically what happens is the sunflower will light up. You must acknowledge within a couple of seconds using the Q key or the alert button on your rail driver or the circle or B button on your controller, depending on your flavour. If you don't, the train will stop in the same way it does with VC, and the procedure is the same to reset it. If you ever find you've gotten yourself into a strange situation with the train, check if you've pressed the emergency stop button, because it's rather easy to whack the slice of tomato. You can tell that because you'll have a red line here next to EB. Coming into Leytonstone High Road, let's see if I can do a slightly more professional stop this time. The little bing is AWS telling us that there's a green signal in front of us. And the answer is no, I can't. Actually, it's not too bad. Alright, doors opening. I'll drive one more station in the hope of seeing an adverse signal, but if we don't, I will show you the shutdown procedure at the next one. Okay, let's lock our doors and get moving. Off we go to Leighton Midland Road. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you've booked this train, you can put the reverser into the recovery position, brake to B3, and back to the direction you want to go, and then you should be able to power again after you've stopped and gotten on the way. I am going too fast because I'm professional like that. We have a slippery track warning. And we're coming up into a platform as well. So at this station, we'll go through the shutdown procedure. If you're the kind of player that likes to play along from one service to another one, changing ends in this thing is as simple as shutting it down and going to the other end and starting it up. So I won't show you that as a procedure, because it's exactly the same as what we're about to do. Alright, we put our brake handle into B3. In this case, I'm going to open the doors for our passengers. Put our... Actually, let's do the lights first, so we'll do the lights off. Ah, got a reward. Isn't that nice? Drop our pantograph, so we're back onto batteries. Put our reverser into the shutdown position. Take out the master key. Get up from the chair. And walk away. See you later, passengers. Have a lovely day. Anyway, that concludes this tutorial for the Class 710 Aventra. So enjoy driving on Gospel Oak, and if this has been helpful for you, let me know in the comments. If you've got any questions you want to ask, just pop them down below and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Alrighty, have fun folks. See you later.
We played a game.